Hello everybody, this is Crystal. So today, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this blanket here. Now if you do not want to make this a blanket, I will tell you to stitch multiple, and you could use this stitch for something else, such as a wrap or a scarf or whatever you want to use it for. This is a type of a chevron that it is made entirely of single crochet. I like the looks of it because it is an uneven chevron. As you can see, the valley here is shorter, and the valley here is much deeper and longer. It's really cool. I think it's quite beautiful. Color combos are endless. You can do so many different colors. You know, creativity is key here. And I know that you all have that creativity to make a beautiful blanket. I love it in this rainbow, but honestly, I will love it in any color that I see it in, because I believe this is such a beautiful pattern. Now, that picture you see there in the thumbnail, it might appear that the blanket is round. It is not. It's actually a rectangle blanket. I just had no place to display it other than that. So here is the bottom. Look how cool that is, man. That is so super cool, man. I love this pattern. It's absolutely stunning. Okay, there is one thing I want to mention before we get into the blanket. Now, generally when you're working chevrons, all single crochet chevrons, such as this one, the ends will start to curl. You see that, how mine's doing that? Sometimes they'll curl worse. It really depends on your tension. But, you know, that is the nature of it, and it will do that. Now, what you can do, what most people do to get rid of that, is they will block the blanket. They'll lightly steam block it, or they'll wet block it. I'm not going to do either, because it will lay down nicely on my chair, and I can just kind of press it and it stays in place, because the curl on this one isn't too bad. But trust me, they can get pretty bad and roll. Like I said, it kind of just depends on your tension. And then you notice that happening. That is completely normal, because it is an all single crochet chevron, and that's what they do. Another thing that you can do to keep it, not keep it from happening, but to fix it when it does happen, if you don't want to block it, you can maybe do a simple single crochet border up the side. Like I could have took, like, if I was to do that, I generally don't border chevrons every once in a while, but most of the time I don't. But if I was to do that, I probably would have just done a row of black single crochet up the side and see how it looked. And if it still curved in a bit, a second row would have took care of it. I don't think I would have continued across the fronts of it with single crochet. That is, you know, because they're pretty straight. They're straight on their own. And I wouldn't want to jeopardize the integrity of the dips and the valleys here by adding more rows of single crochet. So I would have just went up the sides. That is, if I was wanting to take care of it. That is one way I could do it if I didn't want to block it. But remember, if you see the curl there, it's natural. Some people's will be worse than others. Some will curl extremely a lot. It's not a big deal. A blocking will take care of it, or a single crochet border. I just want you to know that you're not doing anything wrong. If you see that curl, it's completely normal. That is just the way it is with a single crochet chevron. But my golly, that is a beautiful, beautiful piece. Do you guys want to go ahead and get started? I'm going to hold it still for a minute, because some people are asking if I would kind of just hold the item that I'm showing still, because I guess I move around a lot. You know, I do. I am a little bit fidgety, so I apologize for that. So let me give you a view of it without me touching it, so you can kind of see the beauty of this. So this is the Thunderbolts of Lightning crochet chevron blankets. Are you ready? It's super easy. It's a one row repeat. One row, single crochet, beginner friendly, super fun for the advanced. You got it. Let's do it. All right. So that blanket that you just saw there in the picture that I showed you measures approximately 52 wide and about 72 inches tall. All right. So that's the tutorial I'm gonna do for you. Of course, I'll give you the multiple, and you can adjust the chain, or you can use the stitch for something else. And you can also make it as tall as you'd like. If you don't want it 72 inches, that's fine. You do whatever you'd like to do. The yarn that was used for that particular blanket, so the black that you see is Ice Yarn's Rockstar yarn. This is classified as a 4-weight yarn. It is, you can see 19 Merino, 70 polyamide, and 11 acrylic. There's 115 meters, so about 120, 22 yards or something like that per ball. And this is just the color black. It's very beautiful. It is a blown yarn. It's got a nice shine to it. Of course, you don't have to use this yarn. You use any yarn that you like. Any yarn. You don't even have to use a 4-weight. But for this particular yarn, 4-weight yarn here, it took about 1,250 yards or about 10 balls of this for the black that you see. The rainbow color that you see is also from Ice Yarns, and this is their Picasso yarn, and it is the rainbow. Now, if you go to Ice Yarns and look for this, there are 3 rainbows on their site, and the Picasso, all Ice Yarns are numbered. So just remember, if you're looking for this exact color here, it is the rainbow that the last number is 6. That's all I can remember. I'm like, the Picasso rainbow that ends in a 6, the number is the 6. If the color number is a 6, ends in a 6. So that's how you know that you got the right rainbow. But any yarn will work. It's going to look beautiful. And this is also classified as a 4-weight yarn. It is a blown yarn as well, as you can tell. And it's 44 acrylic and a 46 polyester. And again, it has 115 meters, so about 120, 122 yards. These two are kind of similar in nature as far as appearance, size. But this has a little bit, some wool in it and whatnot. But other than that, they're pretty close. Both blown yarns, both the same size, same yardage and whatnot. So that's why I chose them to go together. And on the rainbow, it took about 1,500 yards of this one, or a total of 12 balls. So altogether, you're going to need about 2,750 yards to make it the size that I did in a 4-weight. Now, that is approximate. And remember that you can make it, you can use any yarn that you want, and you don't even have to use a 4-weight. Because I'm going to give you the multiple, and you can chain to your desired length. All right, so that's that. And then we're going to be using a size, well, that's upside down. That doesn't even matter. A J, which is a 6mm crochet hook. Now, I'm going to show you in a different color because there's no way anybody's ever going to be able to see that black. All right. So now this stitch does have a very long multiple. The multiple of this stitch is 36 plus 2. So what that means that is you need to chain in 36s. So 36, 36, 36, 36 until you get to your desired size. And then you would add 2 more to your base chain. So that would be 36 plus 2. Now, since this is a chevron, and I would consider it a medium as far as sharpness, probably a medium sharp chevron, you will have to account for a little bit of shrinkage because if you're not doing it the size I am and you're making it for something else, as you do those chevrons and you do the peaks and the valleys, your chain will start to shrink. So the size that you made your chain will no longer be the size that you made your chain. Okay, so as far as shrinkage for a chevron like this, of course, the bigger that you make it, the more it's going to shrink. So actually, I always just consider chevrons kind of a guessing game. There are formulas that you can look up on the internet that will kind of give you maybe, a little bit of a formula of how you can figure out the shrinkage of a chevron. But to me, all chevrons are different. They shrink differently. Some have a mild shrinkage and some have medium to a sharp. Now, I would consider this a medium. But it is all just trial and error. But you're at least going to add, if you're wanting something bigger like a scarf, you're probably going to have to add another 20 inches to your row probably to get to approximately size that you wanted. So say you wanted a 60-inch scarf, make your chain 80 inches in the multiple of 36 plus 2. That, I'm just guessing at that. Like I said, you can always look on Google because there are formulas that will help you calculate chevrons in the starting chain on them to help you figure out don't know. Anyways, I'm just trying to help people out, and I end up not helping them. So let's just begin with the blanket that I did. So you want to start off, remember 36 plus 2 is a multiple. The blanket that you see in the picture has a starting chain of 218 stitches. 216 is my multiple of 36, plus 2 is 218. 218. All right. Now remember, this is all single crochet, and it is just a 1 row repeat. Very, very easy to do. So we're going to go ahead and start row 1. I'm showing you on a smaller scale, but it's still kind of a big scale. Once you got your chain amount needed, we're going to do a single crochet in the second stitch from the hook. So we don't count this one on our hook. 1, 2. We're going to single crochet into that second stitch from our hook. And now we will start the repeat of row 1. We're going to put a single crochet into each of the next 11 stitches. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and there is 11. Okay. Now we're going to skip 1 stitch. So we're going to skip this stitch right here, and we're going to put 1 single crochet into each of the next 5. So we skip and then we single crochet into the next 5. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 5. And in the next stitch, we're going to put 3 single crochets all into the same stitch. There's 1, 2, and there's 3. And then we're going to put 1 single crochet again into the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we are going to skip 1 stitch again, and we're going to single crochet into each of the next 11 stitches. So we skip 1, and then we put 1 single crochet into the next 11. And then we're going to put 3 single crochets all into the next stitch, and that will end the repeat of row 1. So we will just keep repeating that until we get to the last stitch. So I got 3 single crochets there in that last stitch. I did. Sorry, that's 1, 2, and 3. So we would start the repeat of row 1 again by putting a single crochet into the next 11. Okay, there's 11. Remember, just repeating this again for row 1. We're going to skip 1 stitch, skip this one, and we're going to single crochet into the next 5. And then we're going to put 3 single crochets all into the next stitch. Like that. And then we're going to put 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 again. And then we're going to skip 1 stitch and we're going to single crochet into the next 11. And then we're going to put 3 single crochets into the next stitch. Alright, and then we are going to, once you make it to the very last stitch of your row, which I'm already at, normally if you kept repeating, you would put 3 single crochets and then you would start again with your repeat. But actually, when you make it to the very last stitch, you'll have 11 stitches, and instead of putting 3 single crochets into your last stitch, we're going to end by putting 2 single crochets into the last stitch, and that will end row 1. In row 2 will be the repeat row for the rest of the pattern. So if you take a quick peek, I know it looks a little not like much now, but eventually it will start to look, hopefully, yes, it'll start to look like that blanket there. All right, so row 2 is a repeat row, all right? You change colors as often as you like. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work. And we're going to put 2 single crochets right back into this very first stitch. So there's 1, and there's 2. And now we're going to start the repeat of row 2 by putting a single crochet into the next 11 stitches. There's 11. Now I'm going to skip 2 stitches this time. Skip, skip, and I'm going to put a single crochet into the next 5. So skip 2, skip, skip, and single into the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if you take a quick peek, that is your valley right there that you did there. That's skipping the 2 makes the valley. And when you make it up to here, you do your 5 single crochets. You should be in the center stitch of that group of 3 from the previous row. And what we're going to do now is we're going to put 3 single crochets into that stitch. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So what we're working on now is the shorter peak. Now we're going to put a single crochet into the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, we're going to skip 2 stitches, skip, skip, and 1 single crochet into the next 11. So the 11 stitches are the taller peak, and the 5 are the shorter peak. 2, 3, 4. And once I get my 11 there, I should be in the center of that 3 from the previous row, which I am. And we're going to go ahead and put 3 single crochets into that same stitch. And that is our tall peak. And that will end the repeat. And we will just start again. We will put 1 single crochet into the next 11. Is what we're doing is we're going down the side of the tall peak, which is always the 11. There's 1. 11. Then we're going to skip 2, skip, skip. That's our valley. Now we're going to be doing the short peak, which is 5. 1 single crochet in the next 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again, you should be in the middle stitch of that group of 3 from the previous row. And we're going to go ahead and put 3 single crochets into that middle stitch. That makes the peak of our short chevron. So now we need to go down 1 single crochet into the next 5. Again, we've got to do the valley. So we skip 2, skip, skip. And now we're going to be doing the end of the tall chevron. So we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 11 stitches. Now, when you come to the end here of this row, this is the only row that's going to be like this. This, in the very first row, when we single crocheted in the second chain from the hook, that left us this chain here on the end. That's going to count as a stitch. So right now I just done 10 single crochets and we need 11. It appears that there only is 1 stitch left, but there's actually 2. So we're going to go into this second to the last stitch. That looks like the last, and that is number 11. But the last stitch is actually this, when we went into the second chain from, like I said, from our hook, we need to go into that stitch and we need to work 2 single crochets, and that will end row 2, and that is the repeat row. So if you look now, it might take a bit, it will take a bit for it to start to look normal, but you can kind of, yeah, you can see the effect here. So what we're doing is we're just going to repeat row 2 now. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work, and we're going to put 2 single crochets into the very first stitch. 1, 2, and then we're going to put a single crochet into the next 11 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11. Now we are going to skip. We're going to skip 2. Skip 1 single crochet into the next 5. And your next stitch should be the middle stitch of the group of 3 from the previous row, which it is. So we're going to go ahead and put 3 single crochets into that middle stitch. We're working on the short peaked chevron now. So 1 single crochet into the next 5 down the side. Remember, we're just repeating row 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to need to skip 2 again. So skip, and now we're going to work on that tall chevron. We're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 11. And once again, once you get your 11 done, you should be in the middle stitch of that group of 3 from the previous row, which I am. So we're going to go ahead and put 3 single crochets into that stitch. So that is the top peak of the tall chevron. And now we're going to work down, working 1 single crochet into the next 11. Just like that. And again, we're at the bottom here. So, we're just going to kind of repeat what we've been doing. So, we're going to skip 2 again, skip, and we're working on our short chevron, as you can see, or our short peak. So you skip your 2, skip, and it'll be 5 single crochets. And then you're in the middle stitch of that group of 3 from the previous row. So it's 3 single crochets. Now we got to work down the side of the short peak, which is 5 single crochets. And we're going to skip 2, skip, and we're going to put a single crochet. So we're coming, you just keep repeating that. And when you make it here near the end, which would be a half of a tall chevron, where you need to do a single crochet into the next 11. Remember, you skip 2, skip. And then in the last stitch, you're going to put 2 single crochets. So, that's it. You're just going to keep repeating that row. Just keep repeating it, changing colors as often as you like. How easy is that? It's so easy and it's so cool. I love this. It's so cool. So remember, you chain 1 and turn. It's super easy once you get it down. Just remember that the long chevrons are 11, or the long, the tall peaks are 11 and the short peaks are 5. So, and you always begin with 2 single crochets in the first stitch, and you always end with 2 single crochets into the last. So once you put your first 2 single crochets in your first stitch, this is half of a tall peak. You can see it. So you would do 11 singles, and then you would skip 2, and this is your short peak. So you would do 5 singles, and then you would do 3 singles into that middle stitch from the previous row, and then you go back down the short one with 5 singles, and then you would skip 2, and you can see that this is the tall peak, so that's 11 singles, and then it would be 3 single crochets into that middle stitch of the previous row, and then you would need to go back down the tall peak with 11 singles, and then you would do your valley, which is a skip 2, skip, and then here's your short peak, so it's 5 singles and 3 single crochets into that middle single crochet from the previous row, and then you go back down your short peak here with 5 singles, and then you would have to do your valley, which is the skip 2, and this is half of a long, so you would do 11 singles, and in the last stitch you would put 2 single crochets into the last. It's a very easy repeat once you get it going on. Now remember, you change colors as often as you like. It does not matter. You can change colors every single row if you want. So it's really up to you. But this particular blanket here, the rows were changed. They were started in the color black here, and 4 rows of black were done, and then 6 rows of the multicolor, and that was a repeat. 4 rows of the black, 6 rows of the multicolor, 4 rows of black, 6 rows of the multicolor. Though, but remember, you do it any way you want. It's going to be beautiful, whether you do a big block of 20 and then a block of 2 and then a block of 6. It doesn't matter. You do your colors however you want. Like I said, it's going to be beautiful regardless. This is a beautiful, beautiful chevron. It is. It is gorgeous. So I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. I hope you were able to follow along. Now remember, once you get that repeat down, it's super easy. Just remember, long ones are 11 singles on each side and 3 in the peak. Short ones are 5 on each side, 3 in the pink. And the valleys on each one are skipping 2. Start with 2 single crochets and end with 2 single crochets. You get that down, and it's just easy breezy from there. So I hope to see yours whenever you're finished. You could show me on my Bagoday Crochet Facebook page. If you did enjoy this tutorial, please maybe consider subscribing. I have so many tutorials, so many. And we also like to talk about yarn and learn about yarn and, you know, everything as far as crochet and yarn is related. We like to do it here. So I hope that you join us, and I will see you on my next video. All right, take care. Bye, guys.